Hello, this is Bo Yatka introducing to you the NPC Emotional Behavior System. This video is intended to explain how the system works, explain how to use it, and show how it works for the Unreal Engine 4 game engine. Basically, it is a complex AI system that creates an emotional-driven NPC utilizing 27 different emotions. The features are listed here. And let's jump right into the project. So it is important to note that there are actually six if you include the player. There are 6 different characters here. However, the characters that are going to be the demo are these 4 here. These characters have references to them and are referenced by other objects. So if you try to use these in your project, you'll probably get errors. However, what you want to do is you want to use this one. This one here is the EBS NPC Actor. This one does not have anything set up with it. It is a fresh start. This can be put right into your project just by picking the file and dropping it directly into an existing project, right into the content file from somewhere in here. Just drop it right into your project there. So I'm going to show the details for this particular one. It is very similar. There are a couple differences and I will go over them, but this one here is the one you'll be using, so I want to show this one first. So if you click on your EBS NPC Actor, you'll have several categories here. First off, you have a positive emotion list. There's 9 separate emotions, and they're all set to 0 by default. However, you can change them if you'd like to be set to whatever number you want. You have neutral, which is the same thing, but we have 9 different emotions, all set to 0 for default. And we also have negative emotions, 9 here as well. Now the next category is emotion manipulation controller. This is where you're going to be using to change the emotions over time. And if you want to, you're going to click on this and then you can hit play. And the emotion increment threshold. Basically, you're going to set any time in seconds you'd like here. It could be 10 seconds, 20, 100, doesn't matter. You put whatever you'd like there. And every 10 seconds, excuse me, the emotion that was chosen in the bottom categories will be manipulated. Here is your max emotion value. You could set to whatever you'd like. Right now it's set to 10. And here's your emotion strength modifier. This number can go down as low as -0.1 and as high as 2. 2 makes the manipulation twice as strong, and anything under 1 makes it weaker, all the way down to 0.1. Default is 1, and 1 gives you no change. And next we have the positive emotion time manipulation. So basically, this does work in tandem with this. You need to have this checked true for any of these to work. However, you can set to whatever emotion you'd like to be manipulated separately. If you want to just have euphoria go over time, that's fine. Or you can have empathy, or you can have all of them, or any combination you'd like. And basically, what you're going to do is you're going to put a positive number here to manipulate it and add, or a negative number to subtract. And we'll just turn that off from now. And that does work for every positive emotion. You can set each one individually to be set over to move over time. Same thing with the neutrals, all 9. And also the negatives, all 9. Okay, so there is one more. This default here Now I have this set up, and I will show in blueprints soon, a little later in the video. However, this is set up so that if you want to interact with the player as far as the actor checking the player's variables and taking those variables and changing emotions directly. Now, if you want to do that, you do have to click on Interact with Player, and then you just drop your player, which here is your third-person character, right inside. And I will show the functionality in blueprints next. So there's your categories. We've got the positive emotion list, neutral emotion list, and negative emotion lists. We have the emotion manipulation controller. So I'll check off for now. And then we have each emotion can be changed individually, set to on or off at any increment they'd like, or decrement. Okay, so next let's show the different ways to manipulate emotions manually. Now, here we have a briefcase pickup that is in the world, right here. It's got some dollar signs on it, so lets us know there might be some money inside. Alright, so what happens is the player walks into that collider, checks to see if it's the player. It sets a variable directly on third-person character for later use, and then it sets the visibility of the briefcase to true. Inside the third-person character, so that it looks like he's holding it. Now here's the important part. Well, what I did here is a demonstration. I took one EBS actor, which refers to EBS Actor 1, which is one of these, EBS Actor 1. Now keep in mind too, all of these have the same functionality, they just have separate classes. And that's one way that they can be manipulated separately, but I will continue showing that now. So what I did here was I took the EBS Actor 1, and I am directly manipulating its emotions. Now I do that, every EBS actor has its own set of emotion functions. Every emotion can be set to whatever you'd like. Negative to take away, positive to add. Now in this demonstration I added 4 to euphoria, 6 to gratitude, 8 to happiness, 1 to anxiety, surprise manipulation went up 5, doubt went up 2. And I took negative 0.5 away from anger manipulation. So when the briefcase is picked up, all of these emotions will be manually changed, but keep in mind it's only to the one class, EBS Actor 1. So that's one way to do it if you want a specific target from an item. Next would be we can create an array of the same class, however different actors, so we can manipulate them all together at once. So what I did here was I set it up so once the player has the knife, it's actually a sword in reality, but once the player has the sword, it'll allow the player to press K to draw the sword or sheath. Now, of course, when that happens, we have two different things that happen. If the knife is in the player's hand, the sword, anxiety goes up 2. If it's sheathed, it goes down 2. And this is set directly on the third-person character, right here. There are 2 array elements that are already set, EBS Actor 1 and EBS Actor 1.1. As you can see, it's these 2 here. So it's important to understand that these will not be manipulated. Or, I'm sorry, these will be manipulated, and these others will not, because they are not the same class. However, if you have, say you have a dozen actors, they're all deriving from the same here. You could do it like this, and every actor in that crowd of people, or actors of any kind, will have emotions changed accordingly. Alright, so next will be to manipulate directly on the EBS actor, which is probably the best way to do it. And the reason I say that is because it can take into consideration everything around it at one time. And it's changed directly on in the script. So what we did here, what I did here was I set it up so that, let's just jump back here. I set it up so that when the left mouse button is clicked and we have a player in our interaction box, first thing it's going to do is check for some conditions that are on that player. And then it's going to run our algorithms. Now I will get into the algorithms in a minute, but first I want to show the last manipulation of the EBS actor. Now once that goes through and you want to, and it's interact with player is checked, it checks for the players to check for these variables. Now these variables are on my player. However, you can add whatever variables you like coming from your player to be checked, and then the actual emotions can be manipulated afterwards. So here it's going to check to see if the player has the knife, is the knife drawn, or if it has the briefcase. In any of these different situations, different emotions will be changed accordingly. Now this logic is just something I set up. This is 100% customizable. You can make this whatever you want with whatever variables you want. Alright. And don't worry, even if you accidentally don't have it checked or you have it checked, it's going to check and you won't have any crashes. It'll just give you a quick message saying that you need to add a player there if you want to use that part of the feature. Okay, so now here comes the actual user-defined functions. So first let's talk about the algorithms that everything's run through. So according to how the emotion, what the emotion levels are at the time of interaction with the NPC, two algorithms are run, and depending on those values, we get different outcomes. These two outcomes are put together to get the final outcome. And then we perform the final outcome. Now, the most important thing is over here. Now here is where all the user-defined custom functionality lies. There are 9 separate functions that can all have user-defined functions. You can trigger animation booleans or events or any function you'd like. You can really have anything happen. You can have anything you'd like to happen in these different functions. Now, according to how this algorithm plays out, it's going to intelligently choose one of these 9 functions, depending on the numbers, and then from there, your user-defined function comes out. So say we have a positive type and a positive reaction. Now that just means that we have the best outcome of a positive emotion. It's the best thing that could happen in that situation. And that, say, maybe the NPC will now become your companion. Maybe the NPC will give you a very important clue or a very important item. Something like that. Now, of course, the levels go down from there, and in the other extreme, we have a negative type or a negative reaction. So in this case, the NPC will give you the worst possible reaction. Maybe they will attack you. Maybe they'll run away. Maybe do whatever you like to happen in that situation. But if there's 9 separate levels here, so in positive type neutral reaction, think of this as a mediocre outcome of a positive emotion. So maybe a good thing would happen, but not as good as this one would happen. And then so on and so forth, positive type, negative reaction, positive emotion, but it was the worst outcome of that positive emotion. Not as good as these ones here. And then the same going down with neutral type, positive reaction, neutral type, neutral reaction, neutral type, negative reaction. And don't worry, if you still don't understand what's going on, I will show a intro video, a demonstration of how everything works. So basically, I have it set up so it just has a message over the NPC's head letting the player know what positive type and positive reaction, or what type and what reaction happened. However, what you would do is you would wipe this out and you put your own functionality on this instead of just having text over the head. Alright, so looks like I showed everything. So let's do a quick demonstration of how this works. And like I said before, this is not connected to anything. So if you go up to that, it will always be a positive type, positive reaction. Doesn't matter what happens. However, let's hit play. Now, we have four of these EBS actors that are set up. You walk up to this one and you click positive type, positive reaction. So as default, I have it set up so they're all pretty happy NPCs. They don't mind you walking up to them and talking to them. And one more thing. Bear with me 1 second here. Just have to add that in for that. Okay. Great. All right. So, and we walked up to all four, and all four have positive reactions. So let's do something. Let's pick up a sword here. Pick up the sword. The sword's in our hands. We're going to hit K for the sword to come out. Now we're going to walk up to one of these NPCs. And if you noticed before, we had a positive reaction and a positive type. But now we have a sword drawn, and we're walking up to this NPC. Now, he's not very happy anymore. Neutral type, neutral reaction. So, let's do something a little different. Let's put the knife away, or sword. And now we have a briefcase with some money signs on it. So let's pick that up. Alright, now we have that in our hands. So let's go back to that same NPC that wasn't happy with us before because we had a sword in our hands, and let's speak to him now. Now, things are different. Positive type, positive reaction. He sees the sword is away. He's happy that we have money in our hands. Maybe we're going to give him some. And his attitude changes dramatically. So that's a way to show, that's just a demonstration on how that works. So now the last thing I do want to show, so I want to show how the time manipulation actually works. I'm going to give a quick demonstration on that. So let's go to the positive emotion list for this actor here, which is right over here. And we're going to manipulate empathy over time. Now, like I said, you can manipulate any emotion you like, but just for demonstration purposes, we're going to do this. Now we're going to want to click here to start it. We want an emotion increment threshold, so every 5 seconds it's going to change. We have a max emotion value of 10, so it will stop at 10. And then we have an emotion strength modifier of 1, so there is no modification of that. So let's go to the empathy over time and click on that. And let's change this to, let's say, we want this to go up to 0.75 every 5 seconds. So we're going to go over here, we're going to check it out, and we're going to want to jump back into EBS Actor once we hit play here. There we go. Alright, so now every 5 seconds you're going to see empathy changing. It's going to go up 0.75 every 5 seconds because that's how we have it. If I want it to go every 10 seconds, I can change this number to 10. If I want the strength to go higher than 10, I just make that higher number, or lower, depending on how you want to set it up. And then we have the emotion strength modifier. Now what that will do is say, right now as you can see we go up 0.75 every 5 seconds. There we go. And let's change this. Let's make it so that it's double the strength. So now we're going to go up much more. We're going to go up 1.5, as you can see, 6 to 7.5. And then to 9. Now let's change this back to 0.1 and let's see the difference now. Now it cuts it in. It cuts it into a tenth, and you can see how much less there is. And of course, that will work for every one of these emotions. You just got to turn them on. All right. So that's pretty much how everything works. Let's turn that off. Let's hit stop. Now, just to go over it, everything again one more time. Of course, these 4 actors, which are EBS Actor 1, EBS Actor 2 1.1, EBS Actor 2, and EBS Actor 3, are just demonstration. This EBS NPC Actor will be the one that you want to put into your project. And of course, you can manipulate this actor just like you manipulated the other I showed on the others. And if you want to interact with the player and use those variables, you have to set this up. But don't forget, you always have to go into your player, and you will have to set up. You'll have to set up these variables to be manipulated. All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much for spending the time to watch the video. I hope you get some use out of this tool. And have a great one.